So this is going to be super awkward, especially once y'all watch this video that y'all have clicked on. I did 4 pulls, and I hope that I stay at 4 pulls. So what had happened was, I had like 67,000 roughly diamonds, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna do 2, and just stay above 60, right? Because that's still spark. And my first pull was this. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't get any special animation for this GP02, but I did get this, and I was like, yo, let's go! And then the ship sparked, and I got Orga and the Isaribi. Nothing crazy. It's IBO specific, so it's kind of whatever. But it's still super hype. 2 URs in 1 pull is awesome. And then my second pull, I got the animation, and then I was like, no. I was like, please let it be Char, let it be Char. And then it was actually the same GP02. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, that's a 20% boost that I just got. And I was like so happy for that. Got a new ship, so that was awesome. And then, if y'all can see it, where my webcam is, I got this right here. This is part of the IBO franchise. Amida, super hype. She has Sway. So I was like, oh my god, that was such a great pull. I was so happy. And I'm sitting in a Discord call with my boys, and StarCraft is like, yo, you're on a roll. You should just go again. And I was like, man, it's like, okay, whatever. I do my pull, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, it's a ship. And then I see Andrew Waltfeld, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that name. Because I'm currently watching Seed, and I'm like, well, this is weird. And I get a ship, and then it's large mechanisms, so it's 2x2s get a boost from this guy. And I was like, that's kind of whatever, but at least I can like develop 2x2s, right? Big Zam shout out. And then I saw this dude down here, and I was like, yo, that Gundam looks super clean, like super sleek. So I was pretty happy with that. And then I was like, man, hey, I'm on a roll, right? And then I was no longer on a roll. And this is my 4th pull for this banner. I really wanted to get Char. I really, really wanted to get Char. And I'm honestly thinking about doing one more, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do my best to not do one more. But this is where I ended up. I did get a dupe of this supporter ship that I got on my 2nd pull, so I thought that was pretty cool. This dude was pretty chunky, and then the SSR behind the webcam, also pretty chunky. Both of them look really cool. But I just wanted to throw this in here, just share my pulls with y'all. I was super hyped about it. It was super cool. Anyway, let's get to the video, and now y'all are going to see why it's super weird that I got these characters. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube lands, it's your boy Tuglow, and today we have a new banner. And I have a lot of feelings about this banner. And so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. We do know these 2 suits, the Gundam GP02A EX and Char Zaku 2 the Origin EX, are the new suits. And then we have this support ship, the Ifar Sinapis and Albion. Probably butchered that, but it is what it is. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. If you're a whale, just do it. There's literally no reason not to. This is going to be a video mainly targeting everybody else. The free-to-plays, the light spenders, the casual spenders, etc. So let's go ahead and knock out the supporter ship first. We do have a new, maybe not new, but a different effect that we're going to be going after. And as I was taking a look at this, there's a couple things that were kind of interesting to me. The first one is that we've got 2 ults here, and then we've got this fellow from Sea to Stray. We got this one from the most recent boss event type deal that we had. We've got G-Quox here, and then we have, I don't have these, the grayed out ones are, the grayed out ones are the ults, and then it's going to be this fella, the support that's from the new one. This guy is also limited. So it doesn't really cover a lot of UR characters, And a lot of these SSRs, if it has this little symbol right here, these are from gacha, so you can only get them from gacha. If they don't have anything like this fella, then you can just craft them. So here's where the beginning of all my feelings start about this banner. So with the Locus Klein banner, this starts out at literally 30%, and as you go up, I think it ends at 44% if you 3-star it. Okay? The previous banner had the same thing where their ship was a 25%er, and then it juices to 36 at 3-star. So this is where I'm kind of at a crossroads right now, because I don't know if I'm chasing exceptions when I want a banner that has a 30% immediate start at 0 stars. I don't know if I'm looking for exceptions, and Locus Klein is an exception, right? Given this is only our third new banner, right? So that's kind of something that I'm kind of like trying to figure out myself. Okay, the other thing with this supportership is, like, personally, you know, with all the UR characters that we already have, from whether it be re-rolling, whether it be from just tickets from the general pool, they're not here. So, like, this ship is just kind of here. It's just there. You know, I don't really have any ties to it. I don't really know anything about the ship. Maybe if it's your favorite series, sure, go after it. But the test type or tag is just kind of meh. It's just kind of meh to me. I'm not really a big fan of it, right? And again, like I said, I don't know. I'm probably going to say this a lot. I don't know if I'm chasing exceptions from that seed banner, or if we're just going to have like 2 back-to-back banners where they're just giving me a lot of time to save. You know, and if that's the case, that kind of sucks, because I really, really want to pull. But with this only being at 36% and Locus being at 30 at 0 star, and this is MLB, man, I really don't know. It's hard for me to say that this is good. But that's that. I don't really know which one to start with, so let's just go ahead and start with this one. The GPO. This is limited, so this may come back possibly in the future, who knows. But as of right now, this is limited. So let's take a look at its animation. I kind of want to let it play out just in case it's got something a little juicy. I saw the Char one, and it was pretty juicy. It had a little extra effect at the end, but this doesn't look like it has anything. So let's go ahead and just start off. We do have this mechanism. Whenever you defend or support defend, you take 20% less damage. Alright, that's cool. When we take a look at the tags that it has, the UC series, Gundam, Rival, Test Type, so this goes with that new ship, Xeon, and Tough as Nails. So this is a picture that I've seen floating around, and let me see, I think it was Tough as Nails. So on this one, Tough as Nails, if you have the white base or the Argama, you know, you can put one of these two and it'll work with OG Gundam, Easy 8, Narrative, Crossbone, Psycho Gundam, and then you also now have this one right here as well that you can kind of pair that in with the Tough as Nails tag. Not terrible. Me personally, I don't really have a lot of supporter ships, so I don't really care about tags. Tags are actually extremely important, though, and you should care about tags. I just can't be asked to care about them because I don't have any supporter ships, so I'm not finna lose any sleep over it. But these tags are actually very, very, very important. Okay, so let's take a look at... Oh, before we go over here, the terrain capability... Man, it's gonna sound like I'm a hater on this whole banner, but we do have space and ground. We don't have atmosphere. We don't have sea, and we're half on underwater. That's one thing to note. Let's go ahead and take a look at the skills. Beam Saber 1-1, that's fine. This Vulcan Gun 1-2, that's fine. This Atomic Bazooka, okay. I would love for it to have 2 ammo, if possible, but hey, it is what it is. Even at max, it still only has 1. Dude, I gotta say, this area of effect is fat. Okay, dude, this is so sick. I really like this massive area. A lot of the ones that we have are just like 1, 3, 5, 7 or like 2, 4, 6, 8. But this one covers like a like that, dude. It's awesome. So I really do actually like the map. Here's where we kind of get into some odd contentions for me. 25% defense down on a 4-4. It's kind of odd. Not the defense down part, and that's at level 5. The odd part is that it's a 4-4, so it can only be used at very, like, you have to know where you're putting this fella at, and you have to almost, like, put him into a certain position beforehand if you want him to use this as a support attack. Very odd on a 4-4. The other thing, his EX attack inflicts damage taken from physical weapons up by 35%. Okay, that's great. I like that. However, it's a 1-3. For me personally, I've got Aerial and I've got Swan. Both of those have a range of 5. I've got the Mark Gilder's Gundam. I think it's like the Phoenix something. That's got a range of 5. I've got New Gundam. That's got a range of 5. What am I doing with you? What's going on, man? So it's like, you're a support, but like, man, I really feel like you're just here for the nuke, and then I just like hope maybe you get in range for something to support me with. So this guy already just feels super, super weird. I really think his like great point is the bazooka, but hey, you know, I guess it kind of is what it is. And then let's go ahead and take a look at his abilities and mods. We've got increase of energy 15%, defense by 5, and then crit damage by 5. Okay, cool. I'm not really too keen about the crit damage. It's not like any of this like says it's like, oh, we have increased crit rate or da 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 da. That's kind of whatever. The energy thing, I feel like this is kind of standard for a support. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and just take a look at your pilot. So on the pilot, we'll just do the upgrade max. We've got a chance step and we've got a double support. I feel like this is standard for the URs. If we look at the skills, this is also kind of like, I'm just kind of questioning, right? I just ask questions here, right? We have accuracy increase. Why? I don't know, but we got it. Cool. These two, I feel like are actually relatively okay-ish, standard-ish. I know that I believe it's Aerial has the consumption reduction, and I think New Gundam might have it as well. And then I think Swan has the 60%. Or I guess I should say Suletta and Asuna for those respectively. But I mean, I'm not really personally, I'm not really feeling anything like super crazy from this guy. I'm not seeing anything that's like, oh man, that's so hype. I will say, you know, he's got 543 reaction, which I don't know if that's high, I don't know if it's low. But that is one stat that I do want to kind of keep in mind for PvP specifically. If we go over here, this is actually probably very interesting because it's increased range of 25%. So this is kind of like where I'm having a lot of feelings. I'm curious if because of this right here, increasing his range, it actually increases the damage for these abilities, and maybe it makes up for like the odd range, right? A 4-4, a 1-3, and then the map, hey, that map is just juicy, okay? So I'm kind of like curious, is that how we make up for that? And if that is, I guess that's okay, because at least to my knowledge, for what I've seen with my account and my characters, this is the first time I've seen this. 25%. I think that's fat. Okay, that's really good. This, again, standard. The last banner was an exception as of right now, where it was increases damage on the O's pilot whenever they support attack. Okay, that was cool, but this I feel like is way more standard for our supporters. And then if we take a look at this down here, when piloting units with specified tags, reduce damage taken from own weapons by 15% and reduce own weapon energy consumption by 15%. Now, first thing that kind of strikes me is, can the map actually hit us? Because what is this line right here for? So this one is kind of weird to me. And then the reduction is, I feel like that's relatively standard. These tags for the Xeon, personally, I would just put him in his own thing. But if you can't do it, or maybe there's an Eternal Road, you know, you've got this whole list that you can look at right here for Xeon. So for this, right, if you're free to play and you, let's just say you rattle off one or two and you get them, hey, that's great. Would I actually like hardcore go after this? I just cannot say like yes I would. Like if I were to just say like, okay, I'm not spending a single cent in this game and I have 60,000 diamonds, would I blow it all on for this guy? No. My answer is no. I don't think he's like pushing the boundaries of anything like Kira did with the 7 cost sway, so that way you could get 2 sways. Strike Freedom also has 5 range on that attack. I know it's an attacker versus supporter. Even if we look at the previous supporter, that pilot at least turned around and said, yo, whenever I do support attacks, I'm going to increase my own damage. So, I mean, that one was kind of like, you know, that was my highlight over on that banner. But this guy right here, even though he is the limited unit on the banner, I just don't think he's got the juice for me. Now let's take a look at Char's Zaku 2. Let's take a look at the animation first. This is what I meant by it was kind of juicing. It went from blue to red right here, and he's kind of like zooming a little bit faster, and then he'll kind of die down and go back to the blue. So I thought that was pretty cool. Not too terrible. I feel like it's very minimalistic. If we'll take a look at the tags, we've got UC Series, Mono-Eyed, Protagonist, Unstoppable Xeon, and Specialized Unit. Again, if we pull this one up, I believe it was Unstoppable. That was kind of juicy with the Bud Carrier and the Ptolemaios 2. We've got Swan, Exia, I think Zeta Gundam 3 P2 type, which I don't know where this is. I have no idea. And then this Phoenix Gundam, and then we got Quox. So this can kind of juice up with these. Not too terrible. We've got the same terrain capability, which I'm not a fan of. I like to have all my units be usable as many places as I can, so not being in the atmosphere kind of sucks. And then if we take a look at the mechanisms, the same thing as previous, 20% whenever we defend or support defend. Our weapons. So this is going to be kind of interesting. The closer you are to the enemy, the greater the weapon power increases by up to 12%. On the kick, it's got a range of 1 to 2. Alright, that's okay. We've got a 2-4. We've got a 4-4. Again, with this 4-4 range, super weird to me. Let's go ahead and look at our EX skill, because that's what I'm mainly here for. I don't know why we do this. The higher your remaining HP is, the greater weapon power increases, up to 17% increase. However, we have a range of 1-4. Maybe I am just anal for a 5 range character, and I would totally admit that, because when I'm going up against Strike Freedom MLB in PvP and I can't hit that dude back, yeah, I'm gonna be pretty sad. I'm gonna be pretty sad, not gonna lie. So having a 1-4 range already makes it I have to think of a different way to position the character in PvP. And then even if it's just PvE stuff, it just does kind of make it a little more awkward whenever I'm having to plan around a 1-4. There is an exception for this character with the pilot, but we'll get into that a little bit later. The abilities, 15% increase of attack, I'll take that. When HP is full, increase own attack by 30%. Okay, that is a lot of percentage, 30, but that's only when my HP is full. If I get hit, if I get slapped, I'm cooked, right? I instantly lose my 30% unless I use a heal to get me back up. And then we've got a 5% mobility increase. Now, I will say 10,669 mobility is very good. This basically means, like, I can dodge. I have a chance to dodge, right? So the higher that is, the better, which for someone's case like this, where we have this HP condition, I very highly value that. Now let's take a look at the pilot to kind of get into the caveat for that suit. So we have Char, and let's go ahead and see this fella. Now we are an attacker, but we only have one chance step. Not the two that I'm looking for, but hey, that's okay. Apparently, you know, I just thought about this. I'm looking to power creep myself, but having a one chance step is fine. Now, on the skills, we've got the 20% for 5. It's not Kira's 25. That's okay. Now, this is where I kind of get a little interested in this character suit combo, is with this range. It's a 5 cost, and it gives me 1 extra range. So now I can compete, at least in PvE, because in PvP sometimes the characters just don't even do the skills that you want. But in PvE, it at least gives me a 4-5 on the anti-ship rifle attack, and then it gives me a 1-5 on this. And let's just say that's for, like, oh hey, you know, I want to just throw in my last chip damage. You know, I killed one person, I'm chance stepping, let me just get a little extra damage on that fellow over there, and then, you know, I'll end my turn out of range, right? Maybe that's what that's for. And I won't deny that that is one way of thinking. However, my issue with that is that he has sway. And since he has sway, that means I want to use this, okay? So, in my head, I'm going to sway, I'm going to move into range, I'm also going to use my 20% attack, so there goes my 15 SP, and now I can't use my increase range. So what is my increase range here for? Yeah, it can let me play safe, but they're still gonna walk up to me and then onto me, and then I'm cooked, right? And then I lose my 30% increase of damage. So I should just go up, sway, hit my burst attack, and then just slap them as hard as I can and call it a day. That's just how I kind of like envision that scenario. So while this has its like own little niche and caveat of reasons like where you could potentially use it, walking up, sway attack, bursting, and then just slap them as hard as I can is kind of just how I see this working. Which makes it very weird because I still want to have like the most max HP that I can, and I don't want to get hit, but I don't have a 5 range, right? And so that's where my confliction comes from. And then we'll take a look at the ability. Increase own damage dealt by 15%. That's great. Increase own, awaken, and reaction by 20%. Now, I will say this reaction thing is very important because I believe reaction and mobility are the 2 stats that are looked at to see what characters go first or what units go first in PvP. At least it was like that for Season 0. They may change it going forward, I don't know. But in Season 0, reaction and mobility were the 2 things that determined turn order. So having 20% reaction is very juicy. Now, we do have a double tag thing right here that we need. It's got to be Specialized Unit and Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin. AKA, we're just going to look at The Origin. Wow, that's so crazy. There's 3 units that at least fall in The Origin. I don't even know if these other 2 fall in the other one. So, we're literally just going to stick him into his suit that he goes with, and we're going to call it a day. Oh, and when he's in there, he also gets another 15% mobility. So at the very least, the mobility goes up even more, so he can potentially dodge a little bit more. And you know, maybe he's got his dancing shoes. Maybe he's the dancing queen. I don't know. But if I were to have to compare between these two, and it's super weird because Char's not even the limited one, I kind of lean a little bit towards Char. Now, for the very odd part of the video is, should you pull? I can't, and this is where, like, okay, what if they're giving us 2 dead banners in a row to give us more time to save, and then we can turn around and then hopefully have enough to spark for the upcoming banner, right? But I also don't want to sit here and just say like, oh yeah, just save, just skip, right? But I will just say, for me personally and my own thought process, right? I don't think these characters are in that same tier as like Strike Freedom, as the Locust Klein and the Eternal. I don't think they're up towards that level, towards that area, right? However, I do think, at least in my opinion, Char and the Zaku, I think that is like a pretty interesting combo, that if mobility and reaction are still good for PvP in Season 1, or whatever the next season that they're going to call it, if that's still king for turn order, I think this dude could potentially see some good use. As far as the GP02A, I just don't know. I don't really think that this is like a banner where I would be like, oh yes, I have 60,000, I'm definitely going to spark one of these 2 characters. This does not feel like that kind of banner. This feels like, oh, I have 63,000 diamonds, I'll do 1 pull. I have 66,000, I'll do 2 pulls. This is what this banner feels like, and that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay above 60k and I'm going to call it a day. It's just super weird, man. I can't tell if I'm looking for exceptions and I'm going after exceptions, or if I'm being too harsh on these characters, right? But I will say, and I know this was, at least in my experience, every person that I fought had a Strike Freedom that was 2-star or MLB, and it was cooking. Every character that I fought, or person that I fought in PvP, had 5 ranged people, and they were cooking. They had defenders who were super tanky. Once I got up into that master tier, we got rid of this like 4 and below range. You either had to have 5 or you getting benched, right? And that's kind of how I feel with these characters in this lineup. I don't think that they're going to compete in PvP, and I hope that I'm wrong, honestly. But if I have first move and I just outrange you, you're not going to hit me back, and you're just going to die. It's just going to be like kind of the same thing with like G-Quox in the earlier stages of pushing into the PvP ladder. I'd see a lot of G-Quoxes turn around and just get smacked for free because it couldn't attack back. And that's kind of like what I feel with this may happen. And it's super unfortunate, it's super awkward, but I mean, at the end of the day, what can you do, right? What can you do? I will say, now that I clicked onto this and counted the range for this map, the map could be actually pretty interesting. But just still having like a one-time hit and then be done kind of really sucks, and it's not my favorite. So this was like a really long video, and you know, I just want to be as thorough as I can. If you watch it to the end, I very much appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the content. Please let me know if you think I'm smoked, and tell me why you think I'm smoked down below in the comments. I want to know what other people think, because to me, I just don't think this banner is hot. I think it's like par. Being par is not a bad thing, because you could easily be under par and be a terrible banner, and I would just laugh at you. But maybe I'm just looking for above par banners. I don't know. If I'm free to play, if I'm a light spender, I don't really think that I would be going here super hard. That's just me personally. But let me know what y'all do. Let me know what y'all think. If you do pull, I wish you the best of luck. And if you are deciding to save, I hope that you are strong, and just know that you've already saved a bunch now. You can continue to do what you've already been doing. Stay strong. Diamond hands. Hold tight. Don't you know, don't waver. You've got this. I believe in you. You could save for the upcoming banner if that's what you choose to do. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.